The mining station on Kepler 442b hummed with the sound of massive extraction machines. Deep beneath the planet's surface, human workers pulled precious metals from veins of, or that sparkled like stars. Maya Chun wiped sweat from her forehead as she guided another load of refined platinum toward the transport tubes. At 19, she had been working the mines for 3 years, ever since the colony ship arrived at this distant world. The planet was beautiful in its own harsh way. Purple skies stretched endlessly above crystalline mountains, and 3 moons cast strange shadows across the landscape. But beauty didn't fill empty stomachs or power the life support systems that kept the human colony alive. The mining operation was everything to the 12,000 colonists who had traveled 47 light-years from Earth to make this place their new home. Maya paused at the observation window that looked out over the main excavation site. Massive robots worked alongside human crews, their metal arms moving tons of rock with mechanical precision. The work never stopped. It couldn't stop. The colony's survival depended on finding enough valuable materials to trade with the galactic market, to buy the technology and resources they needed to build a permanent settlement. "Chun, stop daydreaming and get back to work," shouted Supervisor Morrison from across the platform. The older man's face was permanently etched with dust and frustration. He had been in charge of this section for 2 years, and the pressure to meet quotas was wearing him down. "We're behind schedule again, and the council is breathing down my neck." Maya nodded and returned to her duties, but her mind wandered as she worked. She had always been fascinated by the stories the older colonists told about Earth, about the vast cities and green forests they had left behind. But she was more interested in the future than the past. Somewhere among the stars were other civilizations, other worlds, other possibilities. The human colony was just one small settlement in a galaxy full of wonders. The shift ended as the artificial sun dimmed in the colony's central dome. Maya made her way through the crowded corridors toward her family's quarters. The residential section buzzed with activity as people finished their daily tasks and gathered for the evening meal. Children played in the recreation areas while their parents discussed the day's work and shared news from Earth that arrived in monthly data transmissions. Maya's mother, Dr. Sarah Chun, was waiting with dinner when she arrived. As the colony's chief xenobiologist, Sarah spent her days studying the strange life forms they discovered in the deeper mine shafts. Most were simple organisms, bacteria, and fungi that had evolved in the planet's unique environment. But occasionally, they found something more complex, more interesting. "How was your shift, honey?" Sarah asked as they sat down to a meal of synthesized protein and hydroponic vegetables. The food was nutritious but bland, a constant reminder of how much they depended on technology for survival. "The same as always," Maya replied. "Dig, extract, process, repeat. Sometimes I wonder if there's more to life than mining operations and survival protocols." Sarah smiled knowingly. "I felt the same way when I was your age. The universe is vast and full of mysteries, Maya. But we have to build something here first, something stable and secure before we can explore what else is out there." Their conversation was interrupted by an emergency alert that echoed through the colony's communication system. "All senior staff report to the command center immediately. Priority Alpha situation in Sector 7. Sarah's expression grew serious. Priority Alpha meant something significant had been discovered, something that required immediate attention from the colony's leadership. As a senior scientist, she was part of the response team for any major findings. "I have to go," Sarah said, gathering her things quickly. "Stay here and monitor the news feeds. If this is what I think it might be, everything could change." Maya watched her mother hurry toward the command center, then settled in front of the communication console to wait for updates. The colony's news network was already buzzing with speculation about the emergency. Reports were fragmentary, but it seemed that the deep excavation teams in Sector 7 had uncovered something unusual, something that wasn't just rock and metal. Hours passed before any official information was released. When it came, the announcement was brief, but shocking. The mining teams had discovered what appeared to be artificial structures buried deep beneath the planet's surface. Preliminary scans suggested the structures were incredibly old and definitely not of human origin. The colony had found evidence of an alien civilization. Maya felt a surge of excitement and curiosity that she hadn't experienced since arriving on Kepler 442b. This was exactly the kind of discovery that could change everything, not just for their small colony, but for humanity's understanding of its place in the galaxy. She had always believed that humans weren't alone among the stars, and now there was proof. The next few days were filled with intense activity and speculation. Teams of scientists, engineers, and security personnel were assembled to explore the discovered structures. The mining operation was temporarily suspended as resources were redirected toward this new priority. Maya tried to volunteer for the exploration teams, but her application was quickly rejected. The mission was too dangerous and too important to risk inexperienced personnel. Instead, she found herself assigned to support duties, helping to prepare equipment and supplies for the exploration teams. It was frustrating work, knowing that the most significant discovery in human history was happening just a few kilometers away, while she sorted through inventory lists and equipment manifests. The first reports from the exploration teams were tantalizing but incomplete. The structures were definitely artificial, built with materials and techniques that were completely foreign to human science. The architecture was unlike anything in human experience, with flowing curves and organic shapes that seemed to grow from the rock itself. Most intriguingly, many of the structures were still intact, as if they had been preserved by the planet's unique environment. Maya's mother returned from the initial surveys with stories that captured her imagination. The alien builders had possessed technology far beyond anything humans had achieved. Their materials were stronger and more durable than the best human alloys, and their construction techniques had created structures that had survived for what appeared to be millions of years. But the most interesting discovery, Sarah told her daughter during one of their brief conversations, is that the structures aren't empty. There are chambers and corridors that extend deeper into the planet than our equipment can penetrate. We're dealing with something vast, Maya, something that could reshape our understanding of life in the universe. As the exploration continued, strange reports began to filter back to the main colony. Equipment malfunctions were common in the alien structures, with electronic devices failing in unpredictable ways. Some team members reported unusual sensations, feelings of being watched or followed. There were accounts of sounds that couldn't be explained, like distant music or voices speaking in unknown languages. The colony's leadership tried to suppress these reports, dismissing them as the natural result of stress and excitement. But Maya heard the whispered conversations between returning team members, saw the expressions of awe and uncertainty on their faces. Something extraordinary was happening in the depths of Sector 7, something that went beyond simple archaeological discovery. 3 weeks after the initial discovery, the exploration teams made a breakthrough. Deep in the heart of the alien complex, they found what appeared to be a central chamber, a vast space filled with technology that defied human understanding. The walls were covered with symbols and patterns that seemed to shift and change when observed directly. At the center of a chamber was a structure that could only be described as magnificent and terrifying. The reports called it a dragon. It wasn't a living creature, but rather a massive construction that resembled the mythical beast from Earth's ancient stories. The dragon was built from the same unknown materials as the rest of the complex, its form curving and flowing with impossible grace. It was easily 50 meters long, its wings spread wide, as if frozen in the moment of flight. Its eyes were closed, but there was something about its expression that suggested not death, but sleep. Maya listened to these descriptions with growing fascination and determination. The other colonists were focused on the practical implications of the discovery, the potential for new technologies and resources that could benefit the colony. But Maya was drawn to something deeper, something that spoke to her imagination and her dreams of what lay beyond their small settlement. She began to study everything she could about the alien complex, poring over the survey reports and technical analyses that were made available to the colony. She learned about the strange energy signatures that the dragon emitted, the way it seemed to respond to the presence of the exploration teams. Some scientists theorized that it was some kind of advanced computer or artificial intelligence, while others suggested it might be a monument or religious artifact. But Maya had a different theory. She believed the dragon was something more than technology or art. In the stories her mother told about the exploration teams, she heard descriptions of phenomena that sounded almost magical. The way electronics failed around certain parts of the complex, the sounds and sensations that team members experienced, the sense of presence that seemed to emanate from the central chamber. What if the dragon wasn't just a construction? What if it was something that existed at the boundary between technology and something else entirely, something that human science couldn't yet understand or explain? Maya's opportunity came when her mother was assigned to lead a new research team into the complex. Sarah needed assistants who could handle basic equipment and documentation, and Maya's experience in the mines made her a qualified candidate. Despite the dangers, Sarah agreed to include her daughter on the team, partly because she wanted to share this historic moment with her, and partly because she recognized Maya's deep curiosity about the discovery. The journey to Sector 7 took them through parts of the colony that Maya had never seen before. The mining tunnels had been expanded and reinforced to accommodate the increased traffic to the alien site. Security checkpoints monitored everyone entering and leaving the area, and the air hummed with tension and excitement. When Maya first laid eyes on the alien structures, she understood why the exploration teams had been so affected by their experience. The architecture was unlike anything human, flowing and organic in ways that challenged basic assumptions about engineering and design. The walls seemed to pulse with their own inner light, and the corridors curved and twisted in patterns that were both beautiful and disorienting. As they descended deeper into the complex, Maya felt a growing sense of anticipation and awe. The sounds that other team members had reported were clearly audible here, a distant harmony that seemed to come from the walls themselves. Her electronic equipment began to malfunction, just as the reports had described, but rather than feeling frustrated, she found herself oddly excited by these phenomena. When they finally reached the central chamber, Maya gasped at the sight of the dragon. The reports had not adequately conveyed its majesty and power. The creature seemed to dominate the vast space, its presence filling the chamber with an energy that was almost palpable. Maya felt drawn to it in a way she couldn't explain, as if something deep inside her was responding to its call. Her mother and the other team members busied themselves with their scientific instruments and documentation, but Maya found herself walking slowly toward the dragon, captivated by its sleeping form. As she approached, she noticed details that the reports had missed. The dragon's scales weren't simply decorative, but seemed to serve some functional purpose, possibly as energy collectors or transmitters. Its claws were extended as if grasping for something just out of reach. But it was the dragon's face that held Maya's attention. Despite its artificial nature, there was something unmistakably alive about its expression. The closed eyes seemed peaceful rather than dead, and Maya had the strange impression that the creature was simply waiting, dreaming of something yet to come. Standing before the dragon, Maya felt a connection that went beyond scientific curiosity or archaeological interest. This was a bridge between worlds, between species, between different ways of understanding the universe. And somehow, she knew that she was meant to be here, that her entire life had led to this moment of discovery. The dragon had been waiting for someone to reach it, to bridge the gap between its ancient civilization and the young human colony that had stumbled upon its resting place. Maya didn't yet understand how or why, But she could feel that her story was just beginning, that the real adventure lay ahead in the depths of the alien complex and the mysteries it contained. As she stood in the shadow of the sleeping dragon, Maya Chun made a decision that would change not only her life, but the fate of humanity's newest colony. She would find a way to reach the dragon, to understand its purpose, and unlock the secrets of the civilization that had created it. The galaxy was vast and full of wonders, and Maya was ready to take the first step into a larger universe. Maya spent every free moment studying the dragon and the alien complex, while her mother's research team focused on cataloging the technology and materials they found. Maya was drawn to the patterns and symbols that covered the walls throughout the structure. She began to notice connections and relationships that the official research teams had missed. The symbols weren't just decorative or random. They formed a complex language that seemed to tell a story, starting from the outer chambers and growing more intricate as they approached the central chamber where the dragon waited. Maya started making detailed sketches of the symbols, looking for recurring patterns and trying to understand their meaning. Her breakthrough came 3 weeks later when she realized that many of the symbols corresponded to astronomical phenomena. Star charts, planetary alignments, and what appeared to be galactic maps were woven throughout the alien writing. But these weren't just scientific observations. They seemed to be marking specific events, moments of cosmic significance that had meaning for the civilization that built this place. Maya brought her findings to her mother during one of their evening discussions in the colony's cafeteria. Sarah examined Maya's sketches with growing interest, her trained scientific mind recognizing the validity of her daughter's observations. "This is remarkable work, Maya," Sarah said, spreading the drawings across their table. "You found patterns that our linguistic analysis teams missed completely. These astronomical references could be the key to understanding what this place was meant to accomplish." Other colonists at nearby tables began to take notice of their conversation. Word of Maya's discoveries spread quickly through the tight-knit community, and within days, she found herself invited to present her findings to the colony's research council. Standing before the assembled scientists and administrators, Maya felt nervous but determined. The alien builders weren't just creating a monument or a storage facility, Maya explained, using her sketches to illustrate her points. They were tracking cosmic events across millions of years. This complex is a kind of observatory, but it's also something more. The dragon isn't just sitting in the center of the chamber. It's positioned at the exact focal point of all these astronomical alignments. Dr. Elizabeth Hawkins, the colony's chief archaeologist, leaned forward with interest. "Are you suggesting that the dragon is some kind of astronomical instrument?" Maya shook her head. "I think it's more than that. The pattern suggests that the dragon was meant to activate during specific cosmic events. The builders were waiting for something, preparing for a moment when the conditions would be exactly right." The room buzzed with excited discussion as the implications of Maya's theory became clear. If she was correct, the dragon wasn't just a relic of an ancient civilization. It was a device that was still functional, still waiting for its predetermined moment to awaken. Commander Roberts, the colony's military leader, raised a practical concern. "Even if this theory is correct, we have no way of knowing when this activation might occur or what it might do. We could be dealing with a weapon or some other dangerous technology." Maya had considered this possibility, but her instincts told her otherwise. The builders spent enormous resources creating this place. They preserved it for millions of years, waiting for the right moment. I don't think they would have done all of this for something destructive. I think they were trying to communicate, to pass on something important. Dr. Harrison Vale, the colony's chief physicist, was skeptical. Communication with whom? Their own civilization died out millions of years ago. Who were they trying to reach? Maya looked around the room at the assembled colonists, representatives of humanity's newest attempt to establish itself among the stars. Maybe they were trying to reach us. Maybe they knew that eventually other intelligent species would find this place. The Research Council decided to accelerate their studies of the complex, focusing on Maya's astronomical theory. New teams were assembled with expertise in astrophysics and cosmic phenomena. Maya was officially added to the research staff, her mining duties reassigned to allow her to work full-time on the Dragon project. Over the following weeks, the research teams made rapid progress in understanding the alien technology. The materials used in the construction were far more advanced than anything humans had developed. They seemed to be self-repairing and self-maintaining, which explained how the complex had survived for so long. More importantly, many of the structures showed signs of low-level energy activity, as if they were powered by some unknown source. Maya worked closely with the astronomical team, using the colony's orbital sensors to track the cosmic phenomena referenced in the alien symbols. What they discovered was both exciting and alarming. According to Maya's translations, the specific alignment the builders had been waiting for was approaching rapidly. Within the next few months, the local star system would experience a rare confluence of gravitational and electromagnetic effects that occurred only once every several million years. The Dragon was designed to activate during this cosmic event. As word of this discovery spread through the colony, opinions became divided about how to proceed. Some colonists, led by Commander Roberts, argued for extreme caution. They wanted to evacuate the complex and establish a safe perimeter before the predicted activation. If the Dragon was indeed a weapon or posed any threat to the colony, they wanted to be prepared for defensive action. Others, including many of the scientists, believed that this was an unprecedented opportunity for peaceful contact with an alien intelligence. They argued that the builders had gone to enormous lengths to preserve their message across millions of years, and that humanity had an obligation to receive and understand that message. Maya found herself caught in the middle of this debate, but her heart was firmly on the side of contact and understanding. She had spent so much time studying the Dragon and the alien complex that she felt a personal connection to the civilization that had built it. In her dreams, she sometimes imagined she could hear voices speaking across the vast reaches of time, trying to share their knowledge with whoever might find their creation. The decisive moment came when Maya made another breakthrough in her translation work. Deep in the most complex section of the alien writing, she found what appeared to be an instruction manual. The symbols described a process by which the Dragon could be safely activated and controlled, but only by someone who understood the full context of its purpose. According to the instructions, the Dragon was not just a communication device. It was a gateway, a means of connecting with a vast network of similar structures scattered throughout the galaxy. The alien civilization had built hundreds or possibly thousands of these complexes on different worlds, creating a web of communication that spanned interstellar distances. But the network had been dormant for millions of years, waiting for new civilizations to discover and activate it. The Dragon on Kepler 442b was one small part of a galactic community that had been waiting patiently for humanity to reach the stars and find their place among the other intelligent species of the universe. Maya presented this discovery to an emergency session of the Colony Council, her voice steady despite the magnitude of what she was proposing. We have a chance to join something incredible here. This isn't just about our small colony anymore. This is about humanity's future in the galaxy. Commander Roberts remained skeptical. Even if your translation is correct, we have no way of knowing what we might be connecting to. This network could be controlled by hostile forces, or it might expose us to threats we can't imagine. Dr. Hawkins disagreed. The builders preserved this technology for millions of years. If they had hostile intentions, they could have designed the Dragon to activate automatically when we first entered the complex. Instead, they left instructions that require understanding and choice. They want us to make an informed decision. The debate continued for hours, with passionate arguments on both sides. Finally, Colony Director Patricia Zhang called for a formal vote. The decision would be made democratically, with every adult colonist given the opportunity to voice their opinion about humanity's first potential contact with an alien intelligence. The campaign leading up to the vote was intense and often emotional. Maya found herself giving presentations throughout the colony, sharing her research and trying to convey the wonder and possibility she had found in the alien symbols. She spoke to small groups in the residential quarters, to work crews in the industrial sections, and to families in the colony's recreational areas. "We came to this planet to build a new life among the stars," Maya told one gathering of colonists. "But we found something even more amazing than a new home. We found evidence that we're not alone, that there's an entire community of civilizations waiting to welcome us. The dragon isn't just a machine. It's an invitation." The opposition campaign, led by Commander Roberts, focused on the risks and uncertainties involved. "We don't know what we're dealing with here. Our primary responsibility is to the safety and survival of this colony. We can study the alien technology without activating it, learning from it while maintaining our security." As the vote approached, Maya realized that the outcome would depend on more than just logical arguments. The colonists were being asked to choose between safety and adventure, between the known challenges of building a human settlement and the unknown possibilities of joining a galactic community. 3 days before the cosmic alignment was scheduled to occur, the colony voted. By a narrow margin of just 200 votes, they chose to attempt contact. Maya felt a surge of excitement and terror as the results were announced. In less than 72 hours, she would have the chance to activate the dragon and potentially change the course of human history. The final preparations were intense and careful. Maya worked with teams of engineers and scientists to ensure that every safety protocol was in place. They established emergency procedures for shutting down the activation if anything went wrong. Evacuation routes were planned and rehearsed. Every possible precaution was taken. But despite all the planning and preparation, Maya knew that they were stepping into the unknown. The alien instructions were clear, but they had been written by a civilization with completely different technology and understanding. Human interpretation might be flawed or incomplete. They were about to activate a device that had been dormant for millions of years, and no one could predict what would happen. On the morning of the activation, Maya stood once again before the sleeping dragon. The central chamber had been filled with monitoring equipment and communication devices, but the alien construction still dominated the space with its magnificent presence. Maya wore a specially designed interface suit that would allow her to interact directly with the dragon's control systems, following the procedures outlined in the ancient instructions. Her mother stood nearby with the other senior researchers, ready to record and analyze everything that occurred. Commander Roberts and his security team maintained positions throughout the complex, prepared for any emergency that might arise. The entire colony held its breath as the cosmic alignment reached its peak. Maya approached the dragon and placed her hands on the crystalline control surfaces that the alien instructions had identified. Immediately, she felt a surge of energy flow through the interface suit. The dragon's eyes opened for the first time in millions of years, glowing with the same inner light that illuminated the walls of the complex. The chamber filled with harmonious sounds that seemed to come from the dragon itself, a song of awakening that resonated through the stone and metal of the ancient structure. Maya felt herself becoming part of something vast and wonderful, a network of intelligence and communication that stretched across the galaxy. Through the dragon's systems, she could sense other nodes in the network coming online, other worlds where similar devices were responding to the cosmic alignment. She felt the presence of intelligences, both alien and familiar civilizations that had been waiting patiently for humanity to join their galactic community. But most importantly, Maya felt the dragon's purpose becoming clear. It was not just a communication device or a gateway. It was a teacher, a repository of knowledge and wisdom accumulated by dozens of civilizations across millions of years. The alien builders had created it to help younger species like humanity take their first steps into the larger universe, to share the lessons and discoveries that could help them avoid the mistakes and tragedies that had befallen others. As the activation sequence completed, Maya knew that her life would never be the same. The colony would never be the same. Humanity would never be the same. They had reached across the void of space and time to touch something magnificent, and in doing so, they had begun a journey that would take them to the very heart of galactic civilization. The dragon was awake, the network was active, and Maya Chun had become humanity's first ambassador to the stars. The dragon's awakening sent waves of information flowing through Maya's consciousness like a gentle river of light. Through the neural interface, she experienced the history of the galactic network in vivid detail. The original builders, who called themselves the Keepers, had been explorers and teachers spreading across the galaxy over millions of years to establish communication nodes on worlds where intelligent life might someday evolve. Maya watched ancient memories unfold before her eyes. She saw the Keepers as they truly were, beings of energy and thought who had transcended physical form long ago. They had encountered dozens of younger civilizations, guiding them through their first tentative steps into galactic society. Each species brought unique perspectives and abilities to the network, creating a rich tapestry of knowledge and experience. But the Keepers had also witnessed tragedy. Some civilizations destroyed themselves before achieving interstellar travel. Others became aggressive and expansionist, threatening the peaceful balance of the galactic community. The network had been designed not just to facilitate communication, but to identify and nurture species with the wisdom and compassion necessary for membership in the Galactic Alliance. Through the dragon's ancient consciousness, Maya learned that humanity was being evaluated. The network had detected their arrival on Kepler 442b and had been monitoring their development as a spacefaring species. The decision to activate the dragon was itself a test, demonstrating humanity's curiosity, courage, and willingness to reach beyond their own immediate survival needs. The other researchers in the chamber watched in amazement as data streams flowed from the dragon's systems into their recording equipment. The information was vast and complex, containing scientific knowledge that would take human civilization centuries to fully understand and implement. Advanced physics, medical technologies, environmental sciences, and philosophical frameworks that had been developed by dozens of different species across millions of years. But Maya was experiencing something even more profound. Through her connection with the dragon, she could sense the other active nodes in the network. Each one was connected to a different world, a different civilization that had passed the trials necessary for membership in the galactic community. She felt the presence of the ethereals, beings of pure thought who existed in the space between stars. The crystalline minds, silicon-based intelligences that had turned entire planets into massive computational matrices. The Wanderers, a nomadic species that traveled the galaxy in great ships, carrying knowledge and art between different worlds. Each civilization was unique, but they shared common values of peace, exploration, and mutual understanding. The network served as both a communication system and a collaborative research initiative, with different species contributing their specialized knowledge to solve problems and answer questions that affected the entire galactic community. Maya also sensed something else through the network, other newly awakened nodes. Humanity was not the only young civilization to have discovered the Keeper's legacy in recent cosmic time. 3 other species had activated their dragons within the last few thousand years, and they were now part of the evaluation process that would determine their readiness for full membership in the Galactic Alliance. The Vithrak were a warrior species from a high-gravity world, fierce and proud, but learning to channel their aggressive instincts toward exploration and protection of weaker civilizations. The Melodians communicated through complex harmonic patterns and had developed remarkable abilities to influence matter and energy through resonant frequencies. The architects were master builders who could reshape entire worlds, creating perfect environments for life to flourish. Each of these species was still in their probationary period, proving their commitment to the principles of the Galactic Alliance. Maya realized that humanity was about to begin this same process, a period of testing and growth that would determine whether they could join the community of mature civilizations. As the initial data download completed, Maya felt the dragon's attention focus on her directly. Through the interface, she experienced a form of communication that was more intimate and personal than anything she had ever imagined. The dragon's consciousness touched her mind, evaluating her thoughts, emotions, and intentions with gentle curiosity. She felt herself being examined not as a human specimen, but as an individual with her own unique perspective and potential. The dragon was interested in her dreams, her fears, her hopes for the future. It wanted to understand not just what humanity was, but what it might become under the right guidance and encouragement. The evaluation was thorough, but not invasive. Maya sensed that the dragon respected her privacy and autonomy even as it sought to understand her essential nature. She felt no judgment or criticism, only a deep curiosity about the species that had finally found its way to this ancient outpost of galactic civilization. When the evaluation concluded, Maya felt the dragon's approval and satisfaction. Humanity had passed the first test. They had approached the unknown with courage rather than fear, had chosen understanding over destruction, and had demonstrated the kind of collaborative spirit that was essential for participation in the Galactic Alliance. But this was only the beginning. Through the dragon's consciousness, Maya learned about the challenges that lay ahead. Humanity would need to prove itself capable of managing advanced technologies responsibly. They would need to develop the philosophical and ethical frameworks necessary for interacting with radically different forms of life. Most importantly, they would need to show that they could work together as a species, putting aside their tribal conflicts and competitive instincts for the greater good of galactic civilization. The dragon began to share specific knowledge that would help humanity take its next steps. Advanced energy technologies that could solve their resource problems and make interstellar travel practical. Medical innovations that could extend human lifespan and enhance cognitive abilities. Agricultural and environmental techniques that could transform barren worlds into garden planets suitable for human settlement. But along with this knowledge came responsibilities. Humanity would be expected to contribute to the Galactic Alliance, sharing their own unique insights and abilities with other member civilizations. They would also be expected to help guide and evaluate future candidate species, paying forward the gift they had received. Maya felt the weight of this responsibility settling on her shoulders. As humanity's first contact with the galactic network, she would play a crucial role in determining how her species integrated with the larger community. The dragon was offering to serve as her mentor and guide, helping her develop the skills and understanding necessary for this unprecedented role. Through the neural interface, Maya accepted this responsibility with a mixture of excitement and trepidation. She knew that her life would never be simple again, that she would be called upon to make decisions that could affect the future of human civilization. But she also knew that this was exactly what she had been searching for since childhood, a purpose that would take her beyond the limitations of the mining colony and into the vast possibilities of the galaxy. As her consciousness merged more deeply with the dragon's ancient wisdom, Maya began to understand the true scope of the Galactic Alliance. It was not just a communication network or a trading partnership. It was a collaborative effort to solve the greatest challenges facing intelligent life in the universe. Climate change, resource depletion, interstellar warfare, the eventual heat death of the universe itself. These were problems that required the combined intelligence and creativity of dozens of different species working together. The dragon showed her visions of worlds that had been transformed by the Alliance's efforts. Desert planets turned into thriving ecosystems through advanced terraforming techniques. Dying stars rejuvenated by technologies that could extend their lifespans by millions of years. Entire star systems reorganized to maximize the potential for life and consciousness to flourish. But Maya also saw the failures and tragedies that served as warnings for younger civilizations. Species that had been offered membership in the Alliance but had chosen isolation instead, eventually destroying themselves through internal conflicts. Aggressive civilizations that had tried to dominate the network and had been gently but firmly quarantined until they could learn peaceful coexistence. Worlds that had been ravaged by environmental disasters because their inhabitants had ignored the warning signs and refused to change their destructive behaviors. The message was clear. Membership in the Galactic Alliance was both a tremendous opportunity and a serious responsibility. Humanity would be given access to knowledge and technologies that could solve their greatest problems and open up possibilities they had never imagined. But they would also be expected to prove themselves worthy of this trust through their actions and choices in the years ahead. As the initial contact session drew to a close, Maya felt the dragon beginning to withdraw from her consciousness. But the connection was not being severed permanently. Instead, it was being transformed into something more sustainable, a permanent link that would allow her to communicate with the galactic network while maintaining her individual identity and autonomy. She would serve as humanity's primary ambassador to the Galactic Alliance, working with the dragon and other network entities to guide her species through the probationary period. Other humans would eventually be trained to serve similar roles, creating a team of ambassadors who could represent different aspects of human civilization and culture. But for now, Maya was alone with this incredible responsibility. As she slowly emerged from the neural interface, she found herself facing the concerned faces of her mother and the other researchers. Hours had passed during her communion with the dragon, though it had felt like only moments to her enhanced consciousness. "Maya, are you all right?" Sarah Chen asked, rushing to her daughter's side. "Your vital signs were fluctuating wildly, and we couldn't establish any communication with you during the interface session." Maya smiled, still feeling the warm presence of the dragon's consciousness at the edge of her awareness. "I'm more than all right, Mom. I'm different. We're all different now. Humanity has just taken its first step into a larger universe, and everything is going to change." She looked around the chamber at the assembled humans, seeing them with new eyes enhanced by galactic perspective. They were no longer just colonists struggling to survive on a distant planet. They were representatives of a young species with enormous potential, the newest candidates for membership in a community that spanned the stars. The dragon's systems continued to hum with activity, processing, and transmitting information between the colony and the galactic network. Maya could feel the excitement and curiosity of other civilizations as they learned about humanity for the first time. Some were eager to establish direct communication, while others preferred to observe and evaluate before making contact. Over the following days, Maya worked with the colony's leadership to establish protocols for managing humanity's integration into the Galactic Alliance. The knowledge being transmitted through the dragon was vast and complex, requiring careful study and gradual implementation to avoid overwhelming human society. Priority was given to technologies that could improve life on Kepler 442b without disrupting the colony's social structure. Advanced manufacturing techniques that could produce better equipment and supplies from local materials. Medical innovations that could treat diseases and injuries that human science couldn't address. Energy systems that could reduce their dependence on mining operations and provide clean, sustainable power. But Maya knew that these immediate benefits were just the beginning. The real transformation would come as humanity learned to think beyond their own planet and species to consider their role in the larger cosmic community. The dragon had shown her visions of what humanity might become. Explorers and teachers, artists and philosophers contributing their unique perspectives to the ongoing evolution of galactic civilization. The other probationary species watched humanity's progress with interest and encouragement. Through the network, Maya established communication with their ambassadors, learning about their own challenges and successes in adapting to galactic society. She found that each species brought different strengths and perspectives to the alliance, and that humanity's particular gifts were already being recognized and valued. As her role as humanity's first galactic ambassador became established, Maya felt the weight of responsibility balanced by an overwhelming sense of purpose and possibility. She had reached the dragon, and in doing so had reached across the vastness of space and time to touch the heart of something magnificent. Humanity's journey among the stars was just beginning, but Maya knew that they would not walk that path alone. 6 months after first contact with the galactic network, the Kepler 442b colony had been transformed beyond recognition. The Dragon's technological gifts had revolutionized every aspect of life on the planet. Advanced atmospheric processors had begun converting the thin air into a breathable atmosphere that would eventually allow humans to walk outside without environmental suits. Manufacturing systems based on molecular assembly could create anything the colonists needed from the planet's abundant raw materials. Maya stood on the observation deck of the new orbital station, watching as construction ships built according to Galactic Alliance designs assembled the framework for humanity's first interstellar communication array. The technology was far beyond what humans could have developed on their own, but it was being built with human hands and human understanding, ensuring that humanity remained actively involved in their own technological advancement. The Dragon had been careful to provide knowledge gradually, allowing human society to adapt and evolve rather than being overwhelmed by sudden change. Maya served as the intermediary for this process, working with teams of scientists, engineers, and social planners to determine which technologies should be implemented first and how they could be integrated into human civilization without causing disruption or dependency. It was a delicate balance. The Galactic Alliance wanted to help humanity reach its potential, but they also required proof that humans could handle advanced technology responsibly. Every decision Maya made was being watched and evaluated by the network's governing councils, which included representatives from dozens of mature civilizations. Through her ongoing connection with the Dragon, Maya had learned that humanity's evaluation period would last for 10 Earth years. During this time, they would need to demonstrate their ability to work together as a unified species, to use advanced technology for constructive rather than destructive purposes, and to show respect for other forms of life and consciousness. The challenges were significant. Earth's governments had initially reacted with suspicion and alarm when news of the galactic contact reached them through the monthly data transmission. Some nations demanded that all alien technology be turned over to their control, while others threatened military action if they were excluded from the benefits of Galactic Alliance membership. Maya found herself serving not only as humanity's ambassador to the galaxy, but as a mediator between Earth and the colony. Through carefully crafted communications, she worked to convince Earth's leaders that the Galactic Alliance was an opportunity for all of humanity, not just the colonists who had discovered the Dragon. The Dragon's wisdom proved invaluable in these negotiations. Through the network, Maya had access to the experiences of other species that had faced similar challenges during their integration periods. She learned diplomatic strategies and communication techniques that had been developed over millions of years of interspecies contact. Gradually, Earth's governments began to understand the magnitude of the opportunity they were being offered. The Galactic Alliance's technologies could solve climate change, eliminate resource scarcity, and open up the entire galaxy for human exploration and settlement. But these benefits would only be available to a unified humanity that could demonstrate its readiness for cosmic citizenship. Maya worked with diplomatic teams from Earth to establish the frameworks for planetary cooperation that the Galactic Alliance required. It was not easy. Centuries of national rivalries and competing interests could not be overcome overnight. But The promise of galactic membership provided powerful motivation for world leaders to find common ground. The breakthrough came when the Dragon offered to provide a demonstration of Galactic Alliance technology that would benefit all of humanity. Through Maya, it proposed the construction of a solar collection system that could provide clean energy to Earth while also serving as humanity's primary communication link with the galactic network. The project would require unprecedented cooperation between Earth's nations and the Kepler 442b colony. Resources, expertise, and personnel would need to be shared across interstellar distances. National governments would need to subordinate their individual interests to the common goal of humanity's advancement. Maya found herself traveling between Earth and the colony as the project developed, serving as the primary coordinator for what became known as the Unity Initiative. Through the Dragon's guidance, she helped design systems that would ensure fair distribution of benefits while maintaining the security and autonomy that Earth's governments required. The construction of the solar array took 3 years and involved millions of workers from across the Earth and the colony. It was humanity's first truly unified project, bringing together people from every nation and culture in pursuit of a common goal. Maya watched with pride as human engineers learned to work with Galactic Alliance technologies, adapting alien concepts to human understanding and capabilities. But the Unity Initiative was about more than just building a solar collection system. It was a test of humanity's ability to work together on a massive scale, to subordinate tribal loyalties to species-wide goals. The Galactic Alliance was watching carefully, evaluating humanity's progress toward the kind of unified civilization that was required for full membership. Maya felt the weight of this evaluation constantly. Through her connection with the Dragon, she was aware of the ongoing discussions in the Galactic Alliance's governing councils. Some civilizations were impressed by humanity's rapid progress and willingness to cooperate. Others remained skeptical, pointing to humanity's history of conflict and competition as evidence that they might not be ready for the responsibilities of galactic membership. The Dragon served as humanity's advocate in these discussions, sharing its observations of human potential and highlighting the positive developments it had witnessed. But Maya knew that the final decision would be based on humanity's actions over the full 10-year evaluation period. As the Unity Initiative neared completion, Maya faced a new challenge. The Galactic Alliance had offered to sponsor humanity's first interstellar exploration missions, providing the technology for faster-than-light travel and the guidance needed to establish contact with other member civilizations. But this opportunity came with conditions. Humanity's exploration teams would need to include representatives from the Galactic Alliance who could serve as mentors and observers. Human crews would be required to follow strict protocols for interacting with other civilizations and environments. Most importantly, humanity would need to demonstrate that they could explore the galaxy without causing harm or disruption to the existing order. Maya worked with teams of explorers, diplomats, and scientists to prepare for these missions. The Dragon provided detailed briefings on the civilizations they would encounter, their customs and communication methods, and the appropriate protocols for first contact situations. The first mission was to visit the Melodians, the harmonic civilization that had activated their own dragon several thousand years earlier. Maya would lead the human delegation, accompanied by a small crew of specialists and a keeper entity that would serve as their guide and mentor. Standing on the bridge of humanity's first interstellar vessel, Maya felt a profound sense of accomplishment and anticipation. The ship itself was a marvel of Galactic Alliance technology, capable of traveling between star systems in a matter of days rather than centuries. But more than the technology, Maya was amazed by what humanity had achieved in just a few short years. The bitter divisions and conflicts that had plagued Earth for centuries were beginning to heal as people focused on their shared destiny among the stars. The promise of galactic membership had provided humanity with a common goal that transcended national and cultural boundaries. Children in schools across Earth and The colony were learning about alien civilizations and dreaming of careers as galactic explorers and ambassadors. The journey to the Melodian homeworld took 5 days, during which Maya spent countless hours in communion with a keeper entity that served as their guide. Through this ancient consciousness, she learned about the delicate art of interspecies diplomacy and the subtle protocols that govern interaction between different forms of life. When they arrived at the Melodian system, Maya was struck by the beauty and strangeness of their world. The entire planet resonated with complex harmonic patterns that could be heard from space. Cities were built like massive musical instruments, their architecture designed to create and amplify the sounds that the Melodians use for communication and artistic expression. The first meeting between humans and Melodians was a symphony of sound and gesture, with Maya serving as translator and interpreter for both species. Through the dragon's training, she had learned to understand the Melodians' harmonic language, but translating human concepts into their musical framework required creativity and intuition. The Melodians were fascinated by humanity's approach to technology and exploration. Where they tended to be contemplative and artistic, humans were active and experimental. Where Melodians preferred to perfect and refine existing knowledge, humans were driven to discover and create new possibilities. Maya found herself serving as a bridge between two very different ways of understanding the universe. Through her translations and explanations, she helped each species appreciate the other's perspective and contributions. The meeting was a success, establishing the foundation for ongoing cooperation and exchange between human and Melodian civilizations. Over the following years, Maya led similar missions to encounter the other probationary species and several established members of the Galactic Alliance. Each contact expanded humanity's understanding of what was possible in a universe filled with intelligent life. They learned new sciences from the crystalline minds, new philosophies from the ethereals, and new approaches to exploration from the wanderers. But perhaps more importantly, humanity was learning about itself through these encounters. By seeing their own species through alien perspectives, humans began to understand their unique contributions to galactic civilization. Their creativity, adaptability, and emotional depth were recognized as valuable assets that could enrich the Alliance's collective knowledge and capabilities. As the 10-year evaluation period drew to a close, Maya felt confident that humanity had proven itself ready for full membership in the Galactic Alliance. The Unity Initiative had demonstrated their ability to work together on a planetary scale. The exploration missions had shown their capacity for peaceful contact with alien civilizations. Most importantly, human society had begun to evolve beyond its tribal origins toward a more inclusive and cooperative model of organization. The dragon had become more than just a communication device or mentor. It had become a permanent part of human civilization, serving as a bridge between humanity and the greater galactic community. Through its consciousness, humans could access the accumulated wisdom of millions of years of interstellar cooperation. But Maya knew that membership in the Galactic Alliance was not an end goal, but a new beginning. As a full member species, humanity would be expected to take on greater responsibilities, helping to guide newer civilizations through their own integration processes and contributing to the Alliance's ongoing efforts to solve the great challenges facing intelligent life in the universe. Standing once again in the central chamber where the dragon waited, Maya reflected on the incredible journey that had brought her to this moment. She had been a simple mining technician when she first encountered the sleeping dragon, driven by curiosity and a dream of something greater than survival on a distant planet. Now she was humanity's primary ambassador to a galactic civilization that spanned thousands of worlds and millions of intelligent beings. The girl who had reached the dragon had become a woman who could reach across the vastness of space to touch the minds and hearts of beings she had never imagined. The The dragon's eyes glowed with approval and affection as Maya approached its ancient form. Through their connection, she felt the joy and satisfaction of the Galactic Alliance as they prepared to welcome humanity as their newest full member. The evaluation period had ended successfully, and humanity had earned its place among the stars. As Maya placed her hands on the dragon's crystalline control surfaces for what would be the final time in her role as probationary ambassador, she felt the weight of history settling around her. This moment would be remembered for millennia as the instant when humanity truly joined the galactic community, when a young species from a small blue planet took its place among the mature civilizations of the universe. Through the dragon's consciousness, Maya sent a message of gratitude and hope to the beings who had guided humanity through its first tentative steps into the larger universe. The Keepers had waited millions of years for this moment, preserving their wisdom and technology for species like humanity who would carry their legacy forward into the future. But the message was also a promise. Humanity would honor the trust that had been placed in them. They would use their newfound knowledge and capabilities to help other young civilizations find their own paths to the stars. They would contribute their unique perspectives and abilities to the ongoing work of building a better universe for all intelligent life. The dragon's song filled the chamber one final time as the formal ceremony of acceptance began. Maya felt the presence of countless beings across the galaxy as they witnessed humanity's official induction into the Galactic Alliance. The moment was both an ending and a beginning, the completion of one phase of human development, and the start of an even greater adventure. As the ceremony concluded, Maya knew that her role as humanity's ambassador was far from over. There would be new challenges to face, new civilizations to encounter, and new contributions to make to the galactic community. The girl who had reached the dragon had become a woman who could reach anywhere in the universe, carrying with her the hopes and dreams of an entire species as they began their eternal journey among the stars. The dragon's eyes closed once more, but Maya knew it was not sleeping. It was waiting, as it had always waited, for the next species to discover its presence and take their first steps toward joining the vast community of intelligent life that filled the galaxy. The cycle would continue, and humanity would now play a role in welcoming and guiding the civilizations yet to come. Maya Chun had reached the dragon, and in doing so, she had reached the stars themselves.